Hello, Connective. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Comment, subscribe, and like without smashing anything, and let's get into this energy. This is a collective reading for Scorpio. Scorpio, we've already pulled the underlying and the overlying energy for your reading. We did jumpers out of the Akashic deck. We got one card for the overlying and one card for the underlying out of that deck. And then we got the Universal Law Spiritual Awakening deck, and we got one overall energy, and we got three underlying energies. So let me get the jumpers for the energy oracle on the table, and then we'll talk about what we already see. But yeah, there's some stuff already we haven't we haven't even pulled the energy yet. So the energy oracle. So let's see what we can get to come out, and then I'll show you the cards for the Akashic and the Universal Law Tarot deck. Let's see if we can get something else to come out for Scorpio. Let us know what goes with these cards that are already on the table, like some insight on what we can't see, and maybe even other aspects of this reading, please. Wow. I have to pull them. Go through one or two more times, see if we can get anything else to come out on its own. Like at least two more cards. Come on. Jeez, what's happening? All right. I want two more cards. If they don't come out, we're going to pull them after this. Gotten a little bit more stubborn as we've been going on throughout the day here. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to pull from the bottom. Oh. Okay. All right. So before we even go through this, I'm just going to take a peek here. Okay. All right. So let's do the overlying energy first. So we have Up in the Air from the Akashic Tarot deck. This is literally up in the air. If you can see the people that are standing on land and they're kind of looking at the hot air balloon, they can't see what's in the basket because they're not supposed to. It's either because it's being hidden, so it's already, you know, in the basket and it's being hidden from them, or it's a possibility that it still needs to be put in the basket, it's not ready yet, it's still forming, people need to make decisions, or it's just straight cooking, the universe is still cooking it kind of thing. But either way, we can't see what it is, Scorpio. And then we have the law of karma. You are being called to a higher purpose. So part of that, not being able to see what's going on, and then you have the law of karma. Now, a lot of times when people talk about karma, they talk about like karma in a way that they don't want it to come. Everybody's always like, oh, I hope they get their karma, and this person's terrible, they need their karma. And it's like, karma is balance. So for you, when it's talking about like a higher spiritual purpose kind of thing, it's probably talking about you evening out in your particular situation. Actually, it doesn't say spiritual, but that is what I'm getting between this like balloon that's like up in the air and then higher purpose here. We're just talking about law of karma. We're not talking about, you know, oh, so-and-so falls and breaks their leg. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about karma as far as balance in a good way for someone. So this is the overlying energy of the reading. And then for the underlying energy of the reading, we have Archangel Gabriel. So this is either like your communication in this situation, or you're going to receive a communication in this situation, some kind of message or something like that. But Archangel Gabriel is communication. So there's something that has to do with finding out something, learning something, or you're just waiting. You're waiting for someone to decide something and then announce it, kind of thing. So that was for the Akashic Record deck, and then now we have the underlying energy from the Universal Law deck. So there's three of them. We have the Law of Transmutation, energize the mental picture of your dreams. So transmutation, that's 100% Scorpio. So it's telling you to embody your own. Usually we're trying to talk about what we want to embody here. you know, or used to, and basically it's telling you that you're evolving, you're in the middle of changing to something. It could be what's up in the air. You also have the law of reciprocity, give without expecting anything in return. So this is kind of like, you know, if you've been giving and haven't been getting anything back, again, this is kind of like what we're talking about. Your karma would be to start getting all the things back that you've given away and more. And then you have the law of harmony, dissolve all discordance and chaos. So again, like harmony, balance, like karma's balance, like we're getting ready to get back what we've been giving, kind of a thing. It's going to be, the situation is going to be balanced, right? Do we know if it's love, work, life? Not 100%, but I can tell, well, sort of. We have the 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron. So we have 6th chakra on the table, right? 3rd eye, your spiritual journey there. And then we have the door to romance. So we do have romance on the table. We also have the angel of balance. Again, we've been talking about karma and balance. And then we have the goddess of the moon. We're talking about what we cannot see, right? This is where we are. Usually this goes up here. Angels go up top, and then we'll put the goddess of the moon here. So a lot of not knowing what's going on, a lot of balance, and a little bit of romance here. This could involve another person whose situation is also up in the air. It's the whole reason why your the overlying energy is up in the air. Even if the Archangel Gabriel was like not a message or a communication or something you find out, but like an actual person, it's a very good possibility that their situation is up in the air too. It's a possibility that you are each other's karma. So you're like waiting for the situations to align so that this person can come into the mix, and there could be a little bit of transmutation involved. So that person might like need to finish changing or change in such a way, or that could be you, or someone could be needing to learn that, you know, when they give, they're supposed to receive. And it could be that the other person needs to learn that they need to give. It's a possibility. A lot of times when people aren't giving as much as the other person is giving in a situation, it doesn't necessarily make them bad people. It's a possibility that, you know, they weren't given the tools to understand, like, you know, as far as like taking and who gives more and when you shouldn't take advantage of that situation and all kinds of things. I mean, a lot of people do like to get more than they're giving. You know, the problem is when you bring it into a situation of romance, right? Because if the person's giving freely, you know, and they don't see any harm in not getting anything back, you know, it might be all right. That's this one right here. But in a certain situation, it might not be okay. There might be one situation where that person wants just as much as they're giving back and they don't get it, and it could be an issue. And again, if it's something like that where you're in a situation and it's a situation like that, then communication is what you need to do. You need to communicate with that other person as far as what you're looking for, what you want, what you see, what you feel, because, you know, that door to romance is a door. It's not promised. You have to walk through it. And if you're trying to, I always say, if you're trying to walk through it, you're trying to walk through it with somebody, not necessarily by yourself, right? I mean, we could have the door to love here and walk through it by ourselves all we want. But if we want romance, that's a totally different story, right? And again, there's going to be aspects of this you can't see, even if things are supposed to come out balanced. We have the third eye on the table, and then we have what we can't see. These cards almost came straight off the table. This is believe and mortality. So again, another Scorpio card. We're just going to put them over here because I have a feeling it has something to do with what's going on here. It's a possibility that one or both of you doesn't believe that you could actually have like a decent relationship. You might even be able to see what a decent relationship is and not believe that that could be coming for you, or that you, I was going to say, deserve it. That was actually the first thing that was going to come out of my mouth that I censored myself on. That would be the believe card. You need to believe that you deserve it. And it's a possibility that something needs to end for the thing to come in. Sometimes that's why our balloon is hanging up in the air. Okay. It's actually just weird the way these are coming out, but we will take them find the lesson, discover the purpose in a situation, trust that you are learning. So this is usually what we need to do when we need to figure out why it went wrong, so that when we go back in the new thing, that we don't take the old stuff with us. So right away, as part of this find the lesson, you know, we're realizing karma and balance. So I think part of it is we need to realize balance, how it, whatever form it shows up in our relationships. If it's not showing up in our relationships, then we need to figure out what forms we want it to show up in our relationships, and it's not. Because there should be some kind of balance somewhere. There's balance in everything. It's like when people talk about like certain races of aliens or certain races of people, and they say they're bad, they're good. All these races have bad and good in them. So, you know, it's just like a symbol or anything else that someone wants to use for bad or good. The balance is inherently in the thing. It's up to us to discern what is bad or what is good about it. There is no meaning otherwise. And so when we sit around and we talk about how it should be this way or it shouldn't be that way, who's to say what bad or good is? Obviously, some things are undesirable. People are in relationships and it's like not fun. There's abuse or whatever is going on, like that you don't necessarily expect in a romantic relationship. We can consider calling that bad. But if we just get stuck on the fact that it's bad and we don't find the lesson of it, then we run the risk of repeating the situation over and over again with someone else, with the same person perhaps. That's not balance. This whole thing is about balance, harmony, transforming, and giving back what you get. Balance. Hell, we'll get back to that. Okay, so we also have nonsense. So this is kind of like when something's happening that doesn't make sense, or someone's talking about something in a way that is confusing to the point where you don't understand what's happening because you're either being told lies or you're believing something that isn't true, either about yourself or about the other person. So this is basically, you know, someone not being honest. And this could be what's hiding, because you have it here on the table twice. You have things that are up in the air, and then you have the goddess of the moon. So someone could be hiding behind the truth, but it could also be like this truth is what comes forward, the communication that comes forward to release the situation and make it more balanced. Sometimes we look at it as the whole thing is decimated, right? The mortality of it, the ending. But a lot of times it's a transformation. It's the ending. I always say that this card is the ending for the beginning. And it's one of those things where the truth comes out, the whole situation changes, it transmutes into something else. And then the end result is what you have to work with when you're learning to find the lesson. That was a whole process that you needed to go through and to do that. The ending wasn't the ending of the story. It was the middle, right? And then you have clock time. So a lot of times for me, this is divine timing. This is time, pressure, in a rush. So divine timing sometimes is hurry up and wait. And sometimes divine timing is hurry up. You don't have any more time. This kind of tells me too that in situations where something does need to be ended, even if you can't see the situation that's happening, but it does need to be ended, it's going to be ended for you if you don't end it. If you're not seeing it because you're not supposed to see it, don't worry about, well, how can I see it so that I can end it? You don't have to. Certain situations when it becomes not your vibration anymore, when you realize that you're out of alignment with that, even if you don't know 100% what's going on, it's just going to leave your life. It's going to get out. I'm not saying it's not going to be painful, but I don't see any broken hearts on the table. I see the third eye. I see the third eye and what's not being seen right now. And this door to romance, which is not the current situation, right? And then we have all must have prizes. So this is the one sometimes where somebody gives us something that we don't necessarily want because everybody else is getting something. Again, this is not balance. This is not I give you something and then you just give me whatever back. Right? So sometimes we can be fooled by that too. We can be stuck in a situation, you know, dealing with nonsense, thinking that, you know, nothing's really going on. But the fact of the matter is, someone isn't putting as much into it as we are. And it's getting to the point where we're starting to realize that we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We're definitely not any closer to what we want, right? So that's when we kind of start looking around and asking questions, even though we can't actually see what's in the basket, right? We start wondering. We start wondering about the balance of the situation. We start saying, you know, when's it going to happen that I actually get what I deserve and not this riffraff, right? Up in the air was talking about time too. It wasn't talking about divine timing, but it was just talking about time that's not established. can ask when if you want, but the when is tied to like when you heal from the situation, or when you're really when you're willing to forgive yourself or others for the situation to begin with, or whenever you're ready to stop listening to nonsense, you actually find that lesson, you start believing in the fact that you deserve more. That's when. The when isn't a time. It's a vibration. It's a state. It's a way of being. That's why clock time is on the table. Pressure. Waiting for this time. It would seem perfectly reasonable if you didn't know what was going on to like just wait longer. But in a situation where you're like in a boiling pot of water, it's not really conducive to what you're trying to do. So we have 4 cards on the table. Let's see what other signs might be involved with this, Scorpio. So we have, oh, we only have 3. Okay. All right, so we have full moon in Scorpio, breathe through the tension. Like I said, even if you're not ending it, something's going to end it. That's full moon. This is first quarter moon in Leo, be humble. So again, it's kind of like if we're sitting around and we just kind of want the thing to end itself. We have to be in the right frame of mind for that. Not necessarily humble, but definitely not upset. You know, not trying to hang on to the past. Really kind of looking at things for what they are. Sometimes you need to be humble to do that. If you go into the situation, you're like, I did everything and that person didn't do anything, and then that's not really looking at the situation. You're going to keep starting over again in your head. You're going to try to figure out why you don't understand what's happening. You have Leo and Scorpio on the table, and then you have Leo, full moon and Leo go wild. So 2 full moons in a first quarter. So yeah, ending for a lot of people. Again, we have mortality on the table. Mortality, that's a Scorpio card. That's a Scorpio card. Lots of balance. And then karma with the door to romance. Well, I definitely see the situation. I definitely see the communication. I see what could be another person. I see what could be another person. And I see what could be another person. This could be you, the angel of balance. You might already know through all of this that it wasn't balanced. This third eye is on the table, even with this hidden stuff. Something you knew. Scorpios are like that anyway. Even if we're totally confused like about what's around us, there's certain parts of the aspects of the situation that they're very clear, right? You go, this thing's done and over with. Yeah, I'm still in it, but it's done. I can tell something to that effect, right? This person's just giving me whatever because they're giving everybody else stuff and I'm giving them stuff and they don't even know what to give. You know, sometimes we just know, I'm on borrowed time. This isn't gonna last very long. I can't keep this up, right? How come I cannot see what's coming? This is not balance, right? We just know there's certain aspects of it. We just go, something's not right. I can't figure out what it is, right? Meanwhile, we're waiting, we're looking for this, right? Where's our door to romance? Where's our door to romance? I always say it doesn't really show up when we're trying to go through it with the wrong person. If it did, it'd be totally frustrating, right? You'd see this door, you'd go through it, you'd turn it around, you'd turn around, you'd still be on the other side with this other person there. You'd be trying to walk through this door, trying to figure out what's going on, turn around, you're still on the same side, right? You don't even realize until you let this person go, you walk through this door by yourself, that you're finally where you want to be. That other person that you were looking for was on the other side of that door, the balance, right? I mean, I don't see that necessarily here on the table. I don't know that it will necessarily come out in the extended. There's a hint of it here of, hey, it's supposed to be balanced. It's supposed to be equal. If you're giving more than you're getting, then something is wrong kind of thing. But it doesn't really say, you know, that it's bad. It just talks about mortality and harmony, right? Could be anything. So Scorpio, I'm ready to pull the blind spot. I want to see what's going on in the blind spot with this, and I want to get some other cards and see if it'll tell us anything more about what's going on, but specifically what's hidden or what we need to do to get this thing to move further along. Again, that up in the air card is like, wait. It's like, wait. You can't see it yet. Wait, like you're completely powerless. It's up in the air, just wait. And that's kind of what it's saying. And then this one says in a rush. So a lot of times when it comes up like that, it's like you want something to happen that hasn't happened yet because there's something that you need to do and you don't have a lot of time. So you're focusing on this, you're like, it's taking forever, but then not working on the thing that needs to get you to where you need to go so that you can get this, right? So you're like waiting on this and you're like, you know, avoiding this. And what you really should be doing is working on this, and then this is going to hit you in the forehead kind of thing. You know, at least as far in situations of where you have to do the work. Again, there's certain aspects of this that are just waiting. It's either because the other person, the universe is cooking, like we said, it's not all you. There might be some things you could do to move it along, but you can't ultimately affect the mortality of the situation to change when you want it to change. It's going to change when it changes. You're supposed to breathe through the tension. Just be humble, understanding, know that you don't have control over that situation or any of these situations either. And that something is definitely hidden from you. You don't see everything, so you don't necessarily know where to move next. It's a possibility you're not supposed to. So let's pull that blind spot, Scorpio. If this is your reading, meet us over at the Extended. The link will be in the description. If not, until we meet again,